Welcome to the call, guys. It's our Sunday night leadership call. It's myself and Lisa's right there. I'm going to introduce her. She's got some stuff that she wants to do, but I have a couple things that I just wanted to share with you guys tonight about all the rank advancements that happened last year in December and how this is the best time of the year for you guys to share this information with people, but people just don't do it. And I've got a couple presentations this week that of people that I've sent videos with that I'm doing follow-up with. It's Christmas, I know that. But Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are three of the best days to share this information with. And so for me, and it's funny, I just seen Destiny pop on there. I made a post about some of the effects that Laura Lee, Pro 8 from out in Canada, was it Building Depth, and how some of the people watched Sherry's LVA training just this last weekend. And it's good until the 31st. So if you guys want to go to lifevantageacademy.com and click on and get Sherry's training, I'll just tell you this. I talked to Laura Lee. She has three semi-active people that have taken massive action after coming back from Building Depth. And three of them have used the stuff from Sherry's training that was just available to make a lot of appointments for them. For most of you, getting 5 presentations would light you up, right? And I remember reading one of them that I posted, and I challenged everybody to raise their hand who wanted to practice on some people. Many of you guys are getting not interested from people, and you're not asking them if you can I know you're not interested, but can I practice on you? I really need some, I really feel, this is what Sherry says, I really feel passionate about how important this is, and I'm going to be sharing it with hundreds of people, and I need to practice to make sure they get this information correctly, because this is a big deal. People know whether you're serious about what you're talking about. If it's what you talk about all the time, they're going to run. But if you're piquing their interest, and here's why I wish that all of you guys had your cameras on, because here's what's going to start happening next Sunday. Lisa and I have agreed that we're going to encourage people to turn their camera on. And Sherry encouraged me to do this on every single call that we do. And here's why. Because it lets us know how well you're paying attention. If you're doing something else while you're on this call, you're just here so we can see your name over here on the side. And there's a lot of you that I know that are on this call, as I look at the now 13 people that are on here, that have unlimited potential, but you'll go and it's funny, I see Dave just turned his camera on. Dave and I have talked about this many times. People go to an event like Building Depth and they come home and they're excited and they know what to do, and they don't do it. They don't take those steps and implement them. They look at their circumstances and return right back to where they were. I think from the book that we did with John Maxwell, This Power of Five, one of the things I took, and I'm also reading, I don't know if you guys read Andy Andrews' book, 7 Decisions. It's great. I've been reading it every single day. And one of the things that a little bit every day is one of the things that I'm amazed about is that how many of us actually take in information and then life hits us in the face. Things pop up, and we neglect. And you guys know what I'm going to say. It goes back to being super intentional about everything you're doing in your life. There's leaders that know we have this call every single Sunday. And I'm just going to say this. When we had a Team True Blue call every single Sunday, I missed two calls in almost 6 years. Okay, 2 calls. Why? Because I put it in my schedule every Sunday, and I put a tracker on there to send me a message to let me know the call was starting, right? And to be early. So I just want to encourage you guys. I'm super encouraged. Like I think that as we realize the opportunity that we have, I don't know if you guys know this, but on January the 9th, I don't know if you guys saw my post, but LifeVantage is going to be ringing the bell at the close of NASDAQ. Okay, guys, there's very few companies that have had the privilege of doing that. And if you've ever looked at the history of Apple, go back and watch it. If you've never watched the movie Jobs by Steve Jobs, rent it during the holidays and watch it. And then come back and tell me that if it doesn't remind you of LifeVantage, if you've been in it for at least 3 or 4 or 5 years, right? And it does. It's the same thing that Lisa and I talked about the whole time watching it. So one of the things I wanted to share with you guys today is I wanted to share with you guys the Building Depth Facebook page. Now, guys, every single thing that you need, it's at Building Depth 5x5. I'm going to encourage you guys to go and register for the VIP rewards challenge. I've only had a couple people do it, and because Destiny's on here, I'm gonna point her out. She was only 36 points away from qualifying for the VIP awards that's going to happen in March, and they're bringing everybody in 2 days early before Building Depth and taking them to Vegas, and then driving them back to St. George, and they're going to go to a spa. Some guys are going to go play golf at this world-renowned resort. I mean, there's all kinds of things. I think we're going to Paris. There's some other things, crazy things they're going to do, right? They're going to race cars. I mean, it's
what
just.
What does 36 points mean? How does that break down to?
Okay, so and that's
action that would have.
And I think it's on here. It's.
I mean, you told me what it was.
Yeah, I think it's right here. Let me just double check.
One distributor.
Yeah, well, you get 1 point. Tracking chart. Here it is. So I'll just show you guys we're on here. I'm glad that Lisa asked that. So here's a little tracking chart that you can print off. You get 1 point for each presentation. You get 50 points for every platinum pack that you enroll. You get 10 points if you attend an LVA or an EA, okay, which we have a couple of those coming up. You get for every new personal platinum pack that you get that attends Building Depth. Okay, want to know how you can very easily get 200 points? And that was the top earner this last time, is do 100 presentations in the 3.5 months, which is easily doable because I'm going to do it. And then sign up 1 platinum pack and take them with you, and you get 200 points. Go to EA out of the 2 out of the 3 that are coming up, and you'll get 20 more points, right? It's very simple, easy, and do it. Guys, there was 2 19-year-olds that qualified this last time. The last one, they went on a cruise, okay? I don't know if you guys saw the pictures from it, but they went on a cruise. Guys, we had 30 elites in front of the room. So you can go back here and use these trackers on here. I would print them off if I were you guys. You can see they have the VIP qualifications here. And here's again how you do it. You can print this off. Guys, print it off and make it visible, right? I told everybody that was there. Your part of your why and your what, if part of it is qualifying for one of these trips, gosh, Marcel and the Building Depth people are going overboard with these stuff. And you guys can look on this program here and see what they're going to be doing at the next VIP experience. So you can go here and click on and see everything that they're going to be doing. Here's this skydiving thing off of a building and stuff, and that hooked onto thing. Dude, it's unbelievable. This is a video that we put together that shows you everything that they're going to do. So Building Depth 5x5. Guys, I don't know if you've been on here. All the Building Depth calls are on here. So if you click System and you click on the calls, here's the calls that we have first and third Tuesday of every month. There's the link and the time and when they are. And guys, they're better than any calls I've been on in 8 years since I've been in this company, okay? Here's all the events. Here's where you can register for LifeVantage Academy. Guys, Jason Kikinzi did this website, and it's phenomenal. If you guys want to go to where you can find all the videos, one of the things that I took away from really cool that I took away at Building Depth, and I'll just share this with you guys before I turn it over to Lisa, was that people were using the videos of presentations to do presentations for people. They'd sit down with the person, and the person would they felt more comfortable with just, hey, can I just watch a presentation? And two of the guys said, yeah, they just pushed play on Marcel's 15-minute building depth presentation, which you can find on either the Building Depth YouTube channel or right there on the Building Depth. If you want more in detail, I tell you to go to the YouTube channel. Guys, every single elite, we weren't in part of it before, but every elite that I've had on our calls has a presentation on there. If you see somebody that you know that relates to the person that you have as a prospect, then just push play. That's all you got to do. They walk through the presentation for you. And then what I'm going to do is I have my friend Tim, who's going to be doing a presentation, and I'm going to have Joanne Madison. It's going to be for him and his wife. And Tim is in a network marketing company, and he's got 60,000 volume, and they only pay him on one leg, and he gets zero money, which he would be a Pro 6 in our company. And we'd be going our way to Pro 8. So, guys, there's people out there looking right now during the holidays for a tax break, okay? For a tax break. Sign them up before the holiday. They get everything that they invest as a tax break. Everybody's looking for one. My accountants harped on me that big time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up and switch places with Lisa. I just want you guys to keep this Building Depth page as a resource for you guys, okay? I'll just tell you this. Last week's call with Dr. Mike was phenomenal. I put it on several different pages. My friend Graham Gonzalez from here in Tampa, Pro 6, said to me, Michael, oh my God, like I want all of my chiropractors to see this. I want a chiropractor in my group who's not active to hear that. Guys, my chiropractor said to me, we have to meet after Christmas. I was like, and I go to his office 2 or 3 days a week, and he's a Pro 5 and had been that way for 6 years. Okay. And I encourage him all the time. I say, John, it's your time. And it's his time. We can't want this for you. You know, we've realized that for us, we know the people that are on this call are our leaders. I see Q, and I see Linda, and I see Beth, and I see Destiny, and I see Ben, and I see all these people on here. Those are the people that I'm going to travel away from my home and spend time with in 2020. And I'm going to go out and create a whole new list of those type of people. Guys, I've enrolled 60-some people. They all order a product, but only about 4 or 5 of them are really actively working this business. And it's really funny. I listened to Jason Kokinzi and James Hyden. James Hyden's enrolled 130-some people. Why? Because he follows the system. He's no different than me. He's no different than David. He's no different than Ben or Daniel or anybody. He just follows the system. And you know what? Before I turn it back over to Lisa, I'm just going to tell you, this has been the biggest learning year for me in my entire life. I am teaching Life Vantage Academy in January in Boston. And there's one distributor, Sarah Smith, that has asked me to help her during the next couple of weeks. She's getting close to Pro 7. And she says, Michael, I want to do it in December, not in January. I was like, awesome, go for it, right? And she lives up in the Maine area, and she's just like, I'm just going to do it. She goes, I'm going to be the second elite. Dan Mollering is one of the first, and I'm going to have Dan on our call in a couple of weeks because Dan is a leader. I watch him at the Building Depth events do all of the sound stuff and then go and present right afterwards. So, guys, you have a great chance. There was about 8 more elites in the crowd. So we're going to have 40 or 50 elites probably in the first couple events of Building Depth in 2020. So with that, I am going to turn it over to my amazing wife, and she's going to take you guys through some things that she put together today that if you have a piece of paper and some notes, you're probably going to want to take some notes. And so God bless you guys. Merry Christmas. For those of you, you know why we celebrate the season, because we love God with a passion, and we remember the reason of why we celebrate the season. And I just want to encourage you guys during this season, whether you believe the way we do or not, we're not here to impose our belief system on you, but I pray you do a real soul searching, and you would search about the reason you celebrate this season and what this next season of your life is going to look like. Is God going to be your business partner? Are you going to allow yourself the opportunity to take advantage of what we believe is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity? So I love you guys. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Huey, and I'm going to switch seats with her. All right? Have at it, babe. There you go. Booyah.
Hey there. Merry Christmas early. Just
Christmas.
very early Christmas. And actually, I would like everybody to show their videos, and feel free to unmute because I want this to be interactive today. Let me get to sharing my screen. Where did it go? And there we go. I'm going to move this over some. It's good to see everybody's lovely faces, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to see if Chris Goodrow made it on here yet. Not yet? Okay, I know he's going to be coming. Hey, Ben. Hey, Daniel. Are you coming back here?
Yep.
Okay, hurry up. I'm going to wait for you.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm waiting.
Just give me a drink, Paul.
Okay, well, bring it back. So anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit about telling your story, okay? Telling your story and how you integrate your story with your invite. So we're going to kind of go through both of these things together. Oh, cool. Somebody's doing some shopping. I like that. Whoops, I just hit the chat thing I saw. Chat. Oh, hey, Tracy. All right, so your story. The parts of your story, actually.
It's so funny you're doing
Is
this.
what?
You know why? Because it was the biggest part of building depth.
Your
Was
story?
People, well, everybody told their stories, and the stories were super impactful. Like
Right.
certain
This is
people
why I
that
want you
never
over
heard.
here, so
Okay.
you can kind of integrate. So anyways, your story. What is your story? Everybody has their own unique story. How they came to network marketing industry, how they came specifically to LifeVantage, how they came to what they're doing as their profession or their career. You know, all of that is part of your story. You know, no two people are alike. So your story is going to talk about your professional background. You know, what you do or did before network marketing. You're going to use your profession if you're full-time network marketers before network marketing. You're going to talk about what you don't like about your profession, the pain points of it, why you were open to hearing about another stream of income. You know, what's the thing that you don't like about what you do? You know, help me here. Every career or business there's no such thing as a perfect job or a perfect career.
Correct.
You're going to love, hopefully, the majority of what you do, but you're always going to have some pain points, whether it's people you're working with or, you know, rules and regulations, things like that. So, and then the solution you found to kind of help with that pain point thing, you know, and why you feel excited about your future. Hopefully you're excited about the future, you know, what you feel about it, what has happened, and those results. So for me, my story, and then you're going to tell your story,
Cool.
is basically whoopsies, this thing is so touchy. A retired RN for over 25 years, primarily all in cardiothoracic surgery, open heart surgery. So we're talking high intense, you know, things here. I was good at what I did.
American Heart Association.
I took pride in what I did, and I always strive for excellence in my job. As probably each and every person here looking at who's on this call, you strive for excellence in what you do for work.
Yes.
And in your personal life. Well, as it related to me with my field and my industry, that meant pay raises, right? You get merit raises, bonuses,
Or no
things
pay
like
raises.
that. And so I rose up that pay scale pretty quickly. Well, I don't know about other fields. I can only speak for my field, but I'm sure multiple fields are similar. There's
Teaching.
a cap
Think about teaching here in Pinellas County.
of your pay raise.
Think about teaching here in
Right.
Pinellas County. They make 20% to 30% less than every county in the state of Florida. And
But is there a cap on that?
yes,
How much
it's,
they can make?
there's like a tenure. You make about
Uh-huh.
$50,000, and my friend in Ohio makes about $80,000.
Right. So I hit that cap very early in my nursing career. Well, does the cost of living have a cap on it? No. That was my pain point. Cost of living continued to go up, but my raises didn't. They didn't compensate anymore. Once I hit that cap, I was capped out. I couldn't get any more pay increases to kind of help compensate for the cost of living increases. So that was a big pain point for me. Okay. Healthcare started changing. You know, rules and regulations start changing in the field, and patients coming into the hospital were sicker, going home sooner. You know, I felt like I couldn't do a good job with them because I just didn't have the time, because they're being quote unquote shipped out. And then I discovered a way to help them before they even got sick. Hopefully even minimize their diseases and illnesses, when I learned that every disease is related to oxidative stress and or inflammation. And that through nutrigenomics and biohacking gene expression, that I can help them decrease their oxidative stress,
Yeah.
40% in 30 days. So my mindset had to completely shift on that. So now I offer hope and inspiration to people who want to avoid or minimize costly prescriptions through biohacking products, and inspire them to develop their
Yes.
God-given gifts to impact the world.
And you know what? And you know why that's so important, guys? You know why it's so important? Because I just got encouraged by Lisa's, because I made people get up in the room when I was at Building Depth, and I watched people go around and tell their story. And I watched tissues go around the room as people were telling their stories. Many of you have never told your story. Like I can see Daniel right here. You know, he has a huge story. He's lost, I think, well over 30 pounds. He travels away from his family all the time. He's in different parts of the state. So you have to allow yourself to relate to other people. It's like when I see these people rank advancing really fast, and I ask them this when I see them at an event: what is the key to your success? What do you think they tell me? I tell my story over and over and over and over. And then I take the person to the next step. And that's what I think is most important. Like I've said to this, Lisa and I would not be in this business. And I still don't think we would know about LifeVantage and Protandim had Daniel not followed the system and told us the story that he told us to get us to make a decision just to sit down with him. And it took some time. It took some follow-up and some time. And when he told me that he started making money and he started creating some leverage, and he was having some people that were actively looking at this for a business opportunity, people in ministry, I was like, wow, I'd never heard that. And I had been approached by 50 or 60 network marketing companies from different anything, you know.
And the part of that with his story, he was very transparent and honest. When he got started, he admits he was ashamed of network marketing.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let anybody talk about the business aspect.
Oh yeah, they could only
of
talk
it.
about the product.
So his
they couldn't talk about.
presentation in the beginning only was strictly product related, until he started to really realize the power from the leverage, and that other people are like, so why am I sitting here in your house learning about this? Are you making money off of this somehow? And so then he started to realize, oh, I guess I need to. But that was part of his story. That was part of his learning curve.
That's where the solution comes in.
Exactly.
Like Ben and I talk about this all the time. Like he's working 2 jobs. LifeVantage is his side hustle. So he's got 3 things that he's doing. And as you learn to decipher between what you're doing, and you realize that people are looking at you and thinking, how is he doing, or why is he doing a 3rd thing when he's already got 2 other things that he's doing, plus his racing, plus having a relationship, plus having his mom moving, you know, and retiring and being around him more often. I mean,
and then you have to be totally transparent when you talk about how you feel about the future. Like, I see myself as, not being as busy and being able to spend more time. I would say one of the most important things that I tell people about what Lisa and I've done is I just spent 2 years with my wife, which I would have with more time with my wife, which I would never. If you guys know, we are movie buffs. And I would have never been able to go to see the movies that I've seen. And now that I was talking about Daniel, I see a shirt that he has on there. It's a nice shirt, brother. I think I know who gave you that shirt.
Yeah.
But that's a big piece of that. I think that most people miss. It's why, guys, think about Clinton Boyle's story. 10 months before he enrolled his first person, 10 more months till he found Tony Kratzowitz. Tony Kratzowitz was driving in a truck. You guys, I saw some really funny pictures of Tony Kratzowitz back when he was driving in the truck, when it was hilarious. And it allowed him to use that to tell a story. His wife passed away several years ago. And because when his wife passed away, he was able to spend more time with his kids. And how many of you that have children would like to spend more time with your children? By a show of hands. How many of you would like to wake up and take them to school every day, take your grandkids to school? Anything, right? Like being able to just wake up next to them and go to the gym at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, right? Instead of 5 or 6 or whatever, right? Like I see some of you guys doing. How many of you guys would like to be smart like Daniel and move to Florida instead of living in Ohio?
So what I want is, okay, Destiny raised your hand.
No, she's serious because she said she wants to spend more time.
Oh, yeah. I want this, like I said in the beginning, to be interactive. So I'm going to have Chris kind of share his story briefly as an example. And then I want 1 or 2 other people who are not comfortable with sharing their story.
Or somebody we don't know. Or somebody people don't even know.
Or somebody that doesn't even know exactly what their story is, so that we can kind of help you put it together and, learn it, be able to share it. So Chris, if you want to unmute yourself and take it into the next part of that too, not only share your story, but how you use your story to invite.
Nice hat.
Yeah, you like that?
I got the same one.
Got some good swag here. Good swag.
Love it.
It's very comfortable. It fits.
It is.
It's
Those
amazing.
are the most comfortable hats. They had some really nice hats at the Building Depth events, but I got so busy I didn't get around to getting one. I was going to buy some for people for Christmas, and next thing I know, you know how that works. You're out of there, and you're like, crap, I forgot to. But yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So what's kind of crazy is I started seeing Dr. Jason Peasley at Fairwood Chiropractic. Well, actually, I was at Fairwood Chiropractic, and then Dr. Peasley got introduced because he was taking over the practice from another partner from the Canada area. And it's so funny, but because every time I talked to him about marathon running, I talked to him about health, and there's a lot of things that I knew just because I was very into watching webinars and listening to a lot of people talk about health, because I just got really bored with the radio and the songs and everything playing over. I would jump on my car and I'd jump YouTube, and they actually used to do these really cool functions where they actually would have maybe quarterly meetings where they would actually bring you in and they would talk about some certain health and food dangers and stuff like that. And it was kind of funny because at that point I was drinking diet soda, thinking that diet soda was the answer because I had this love for Dr. Pepper. And I'm like, okay, well, I won't take in the high fructose corn syrup and all that. And then I thought what I was doing was better. And I realized that it wasn't. I immediately left that meeting that day and I stopped all, and I haven't had soda since, and I can't even tell you how long that's been. So it's kind of crazy. But Jason knew that I was very passionate about exercising, marathon running, and health. And he said that he was like, hey, listen, I was down in Florida and I talked to Dr. John Huey. He's one of the smartest men I know. He showed me something. You know how big I am in this office. I won't bring anything in it unless it's researched and I do my due diligence. He's like, this stuff's very impressive. And I said, well, what does it do? He kind of told me a little bit. And I said, well, I'm having wrist trouble right now. I'm actually seeing Westside Orthopedics. the pills they given me are really causing my stomach some issues, and they want to now give me injections and possibly do some carpal tunnel surgery. Because in my field, which was being a dent wizard technician, there's a lot of cranking and twisting like this over and over, and it's 8, 9, 10 hours long all day long, every day. So you can just tell how your body's going to break down. And I always said if I could start over again in life out of school, I would want to do something in the health field, health related, because I really wanted to help people. Just because I see these stories, and it was just incredible what I used to listen to on YouTube and all these documentaries. It was just insane. And cancer was something that I really wanted to help with. You know, if we could teach people, to get out of the acidic way and get in more to the alkaline way. And it was just all these things, And so he's like, listen, you got to take this, tell me how it works for you, and then we'll go from there. Well, what happened was I took it, and amazingly, the swelling in my hand and wrist went away, and I was just surprised. I couldn't believe it. Well, then he tied me in with Michael on a 3-way phone call, and it didn't take me long. I signed up. I tried to sign up that night. Something was going on with the computer systems that I had to sign up the next morning, but I did. I jumped in. It didn't take me long to get in on this. I saw a little bit of information, ABC Primetime, of course, and then I started thinking of the people who I could help. And then I started telling the people that I knew that were serious about basically, Lisa, listening to people, have them tell me their story was a way for me to open up on the invite. Now, I'll be honest with you. I sold tons of Protandim bottles in the very beginning, tons, because I knew it worked. I knew it was going to help. I just wanted people to get this. And I mean, I think there was at one point I sold like 20 bottles of Protandim in a month to 20 different people. And Mike's like, no. He's like, that's great, but hey, there's an auto ship and there's a business to this, and we got to do it the right way, and you got to start using people on 3-way phone calls. And I said, okay. And then that's really when it clicked. I started using the 3-way system, and it was amazing. The invite basically was, I was just telling my story. Hey, listen, I work out in Ohio in the cold. It's -2, it's -10. I have a little girl now. I'm not getting the time I want. I want to get that time back. There are hundreds of people with that story. And it was just like, listen, I found something. I want to take you through the proper way of seeing it like I saw it, so you can understand how this business works, and you don't have to feel like you have to do anything different than I did. It's a hard business, but it's simple. And it was just kind of amazing how once I started clicking with that 3-way system and talking to people, I had a guy who tells me, he's like, I love my job. Why would I want to do this? And I sat back for a minute and like, where do I go after this? What can I say? I'm like, well, you know what? Everyone has something that they love outside of their job that they would love to do more. And what is that for you? And he's like, man, if I could play golf every day, that would be it. I said, all right, so you would rather be at golf than be at work? He's like, yeah, but I don't know how to make that happen. I said, this is how you make that happen. You create your own business and you build it. And then what you do is you replace your income. That is how this company works. And this is how this industry works. It's amazing. And basically, you got invited here tonight. You saw the information, and now I'm talking to you. So everybody you bring, we do the meetings for. And it wasn't for my line. It was actually for somebody else that came to the meeting. It was someone in Paulette's line. I think it was Sarah Nichols at the time. And that guy signed up.
Sarah Nichols. Yep.
And yeah, that guy signed up like immediately the next day. He thought about it. He came up to her at work and said, I thought a lot about it. I do like what I do, but there's so many more things I want to do. And I'll tell you what. If I could, I would love to be able to not drop my daughter off at daycare. That would be amazing, and spend more time with her, especially with her now getting a lot more engaged in things and wanting to do more with me. Like all day, it was warm here. We spent the time in the driveway playing horse and pig because she's really into basketball. And those are things that we could do and build on memories more in the summer rather than me go to work, her go to summer camp. Even though I know she likes some summer camp things, but there would be better. But just like dropping her off at school and knowing I don't have to go to a job. I can pick up a gym bag, go to the gym, do what I got to do, be more productive, jump in my Jeep and go to the trails and run. I mean, I think about those things all the time. Like, what would it be like? Crisp fall morning, you drop her off and boom, you're on your way. It's just, there's a lot
why,
of
brother, it's your why. That's your why, Chris. That's your why. Hey, Chris, tell real quick about what you told me the other day that I said probably was one of the most encouraging things you said to me. Tell them what happened when you took a raise at your job
promotion that really wasn't a promotion, and what happened because you were like, yeah, I'm gonna have a promotion in my job, and this is gonna happen. That, and tell me what you told me, because that was part of your story that really encouraged me. Tell about that. Talk about that.
Well, it's kind of funny because when I moved out of being a dent technician and moved into management, it's a step up. It's also something that I'm 40-some years old, and my body is breaking down, and I don't know what's next for me after this happens. If this isn't already built, you need some sort of other income. So I was telling Mike, like, as a technician, you don't have a ceiling. You can make as much as you want. You get paid on everything you do. You can just keep going. But as a manager, you get capped. And it's crazy. And the bridge from a technician to a manager, it's a higher title, but it's lower in income. And that's the reality. And a lot of people don't want to do it. I mean, the position I am in is called the area manager, which has tons of responsibility. The tech has just their responsibilities every day. You have your responsibilities plus all the dealerships, which are about 250 right now. And then you have the district manager who kind of like facilitates what's going on, helps you out wherever he can. You're the forgotten one, really. You're the middle child. They love the techs and they want to take care of it, and they know about that because that's the money they give it. Then there's you. They put all the stuff on you, so you deal with all the crap from the dealerships and you deal with all the crap from the technicians. You get it on both sides. And then the district manager just hears what's going on and he tries to jump in and help whenever he can. And then he's like the first child of the regional vice presidents that can do no wrong. So it's just and then they make great money. The techs make great money. The area manager deals with everything, and he doesn't. And it took me a year, honestly, and that's why I've been so busy this year, because everything that I had to take over from the previous year, I had to build to where I'm at now to even get back to where I was, close enough to a tech. But it's just it's just one of those things where you take on so much more responsibility and you get less. And in this industry, the more responsibility you take on and the more you help people and the more you help grow, the better you become. Because if you guys would look at an X, and this hit me big time, if you look at an X and you look at the top of the X, that's your efforts. You're at the max. And you go down to the bottom part of this X down here, that's your money. In this industry, you're maxing out on your efforts and you're not maxing out on your profits. And then all of a sudden you start to go down this way and your efforts start to decline because you taught everybody, and it starts to then duplicate. And then this part, the bottom part, starts to rise, and that's your profits. So
that's
it
the
flips.
main part of being salaried. People think, oh my gosh, my overall annual salary, I took like a $10,000 pay increase. But the amount of work and effort, if you break it down to hourly, you just gave yourself a huge pay cut.
Well, that's why Marcel. That's why Marcel said. He said, "Look, if I could be like some of the other people in the company, and I could just say I'm basically retired, right? But Lisa can tell you, he's at every event. He's like, man, I want to see everybody succeed. He's like, and I'm like, and we're like, Chris is probably like 30 levels down from him, right? And I'm like, if Chris said to him, hey, you want to come to Toledo and do some meetings, Marcel would be on a plane tomorrow. That's how we leverage relationships with people that care about people like Chris. And I told Chris didn't even know this, but I told his story at Building Depth. I picked 3 people that I had met that had made a massive impact on my life. And I told his why and his what and his story at the end. And I had to do it in 20 minutes, which was pretty fast for me because I wanted to do some interaction with people. But as I said, I told Lisa, when I saw people getting up and telling their story, and I looked at people passing tissues around the room, that's what we're not doing. We are not telling our story enough to enough people to get people to understand the realness of what Chris goes through, what Lisa went through, what Daniel goes through when he leaves his house and travels, and just so many people that are on here that do that. And Destiny, Destiny's
Let Daniel tell his
story. Yeah, I'm gonna let Daniel see if he's open to doing that. But thanks, Chris, for doing that. I appreciate that.
Hey, one last thing. When you say telling that story, that kind of led me down that road to the story ads on Facebook, that creating the business page and creating the story ads. And I took a picture of my daughter and I overlooking the Smoky Mountains. And I created a story about how we don't get the time and we get that 1 week or 2 weeks of vacation out of 50 weeks. And that's it. That's all we get. And we have to try to cherish those times. And when we signed up Eden, she read that story and said, that's my life. And then it led to the next person and then the next person. It was kind of crazy how that one story led to 3 distributors within like a month, because, you know, she talked about that with, you know, about what she read. And she said, when I read it, I literally read my own story. So I need to get back. I think you guys are on mute, but I really need to get back to doing that. I need to start creating those stories, and not even just mine. Use third party. How many people in this company that we listen to their story that we could use on those ads? It'd be incredible.
A lot of people.
Absolutely.
A lot of people. So thanks for sharing. I appreciate that, brother.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right. So I asked Daniel. Daniel, are you unmuted? Yeah, you're in. Yeah, you're unmuted.
Here I am.
All right, my brother. Have at it. You look comfortable.
Hey, I am comfortable. I'm living the Florida dream.
I know. I was about to say it's kind of nice here right now.
I got a
great.
screened-in back porch. It's like 60 degrees. It's pouring down with rain, and I'm not in Ohio.
Well, I'm with you.
Ohio. I was just up there last week actually for my regular work, and I think it was like down to 12 degrees at night and snow in Medina, and I was just done. So
yeah.
No, my story, I guess, really started about 2 years ago. I got to a point where I'm just going to say fat and sassy. I was working for a school district, and I would reach my cap. I don't have a degree. I don't have anything special about me. I've got an aircraft mechanics certificate in airframe and power plant.
Tell people where you're from.
I'm originally from England. I've been over in the States for about 17 years now. Came over as a missionary aircraft mechanic, which is, you know, that was my big deal. And I was supposed to go work for a mission in East Africa afterwards for 2 terms of service, and that kind of all fell through. But that was really part of the big picture, I think. I met a pretty girl, and it was easier to stay in America than it was to take her back to England.
Of course you did.
So, you know, typical guy. I'm an absolute sucker for a pretty girl. So, so I've got my whole family over here. I actually let's cut back a little bit further. Actually, about 10 years ago, I lived in Florida, and I was serving with a mission in the town that I live in now. And we just got to a point where it was right around 2008, 2009, that big economic crash. Nobody was donating to the mission, so that I wasn't getting the income there. I was running 2 jobs in one day. Actually 2 to 3 jobs in one day, just not paying the bills. Got to the point I didn't like my wife didn't like me, and we had the opportunity to move back to Ohio to her family because we had free rent, and the first month we were $400 in the hole. Took 10 years to get to where we're at today, kind of just building it up. You know, I can't afford to not have a job, so I've always been working hard to do something to pay those bills and work on my relationships at the same time. And then about 2 years ago, I was working for a school, and one of my friends is a head paramedic and fire chief at the local village fire department. And I said I was feeling kind of rough at a football game as I was watching the game. And so they did some checks on me, and she's like, dude, you have to go to the ER. You shouldn't be standing up right now. Like, my blood pressure was crazy high. My sugar levels were high. Just like, I could see the look in her face. She was trying to be nice to me, but she was like, dude, you got to do something. Otherwise, you're going to be dead next week. So long story short, I ended up going to the stat care, and I was in bad shape. And basically, I weighed about 210, which isn't horrendous. I haven't got one of those huge like weight loss stories. So if you look at me now compared to what I was then, I look a little bit trimmer, but it's more internally what was taking place. And I did some things that got me kind of jump started in the right track here. And then I got introduced to a group of guys which put me in touch with Mike, which is really funny because like Mike reached out to me on Facebook and just started kind of being friendly and telling me about LifeVantage and just like opportunities and all that good stuff. And so I thought, well, I'm going to Florida on vacation. Maybe I can hang out with this guy because it's only going to be an hour or two away from where we were staying. And the only day I had available was the day I think you were flying to Utah. So I missed him. And then lo and behold, I end up in California. I throw out a Facebook message to everybody in this group saying, hey, I'm in California. If anyone's around, I'd like to hang out. And Mike says, well, I'm playing golf and we were in Menifee. Let's hang out. So I'm like, hang on a minute. He's in Florida and I'm in California. And, it was just it's kind of strange. And it was really cool because we were actually staying in the same hotel, like 6 doors away from each other on the same floor, which is like, you can't plan that stuff. So he's like, they got me hooked on the Axio. So hence the t-shirt. And so I started with some Protandim. I actually got into a car wreck in Ohio when I was living up there. I was number 2 in the line of 5 and really threw my back out. And so I was looking at LifeVantage, like, okay, what's going on internally with my blood pressure, my sugars, my joints and everything else. And then suddenly I've got this solution presented to me with LifeVantage. I started taking the Protandim, and I know it says like in the paperwork, it's like, give it 30 to 90 days, depending on who you are. It's a nice little kind of number to give people a chance because everybody's different. But I started taking it, and then with my new job that I got, I had my health risk assessment. I'm kind of worried about that, honestly, because I know, my weight it's coming down, but it's still not where it needs to be. And our company would give us these credits for our health insurance based on where we were at on, blood pressure and doing all that good stuff. So you get real friendly with the nurse in the office space, I guess. And they matched me out, and I had about 10 days. I was like, I'm not looking forward to this. My premiums are going to be sky high. I've only just started taking Protandim, so it's really not going to, I don't think it's going to really make a difference. And then it comes back, and I'm like right in the middle of where they need me to be. And the only thing there that I can think of was, I'm making healthy choices. I'm like trying to do better eating. I try to avoid the sugary drinks, but I'm a sucker for Dr. Pepper. So that's my treat every now and then. And I really enjoy it.
Is that why you were laughing when he said that? Is that why you were laughing?
Oh, it was killing me. I'll drink Dr. Pepper now because I know it's not a problem for me. Before, sugar was it was like crack to me. Yeah. That was what was killing me.
Moderation, right? Everything.
And I was on 2 sugars, two teaspoons of sugars in a cup of coffee.
Oh, Lord.
Per cup. So then at the office, at the school where I was working before, when I realized what was going on, I was drinking 1 to 2 pots of coffee. So then add all that sugar on top, and I wasn't being active, so I wasn't really burning it off either.
No.
So in that 3 weeks, the Protandim made this huge difference in streamlining everything. I still got ways to go, but I do have. It's been crazy because I've moved to Florida. I've just it's almost reset a lot of my community. I'm big on community, big on building relationships, and I'm just now building momentum where we live now. But I've got this couple of customers. It's a son and a mom, and they love Protandim. And I'm trying to get them to be a bit more vocal with their family right now because they both noticed, again, like within a week, just this difference that their body was resetting, it was doing something, and right down to the point where she's just had I'm not entirely sure what it was some crazy eye surgery. And she was taking Protandim, and she said that, like, even the doctor was saying, like, everything was reducing. He couldn't confirm it, but he said it was going so much more smoothly. And she comes back to me and she's like, I swear it's the Protandim.
Yeah.
Because I've had this thing done before and not had the Protandim. So she knows the difference. The doctor's just kind of going on what his numbers and figures
are.
How
old was she, Daniel?
She's in her 60s.
Sounds like my pastor.
Yeah.
his story.
And Protan, I've got to say something about my dog too, because when we moved from Ohio down to Florida, I was worried about my dog, and she's a whole piece of work anyway, and I love her dearly. And it's taken 6 months mindset for her to kind of settle into living down here and that just whole change of routine. But we moved and drove 16 and a half hours through the night with a dog and a cat and my 2 girls in the minivan and some basic supplies. And I had that dog on Protandim for 2 or 3 months in that period of time. She's been the most relaxed, chilled out dog in that whole move. And you could just tell a complete difference.
No placebo effect in dogs.
Yeah, because like it was almost like instantaneous with her. And just being super chilled out. And she's a Springer Spaniel. So those dogs are just
Hyper.
They're born nuts. So, all that being said, I know I got a lot of work to do. I'm not, I do a lot of talking and I'm not the best at closing deals and whatnot. But the point with what we're doing today with the whole story thing is that's what people relate to.
Yeah.
People, and that's why I'm big on community with that.
Listen.
Yeah. And that's why I'm big on things with community. I struggle with the Facebook messages and I can check in with people, but I do better when I'm there in person. And so I've got some things happening with work that's means I probably won't travel so much. I've got the benefit that I actually work remote anyway. So I've kind of got the joys of a lot of different things all in one place. And so I'm excited that this next year I can really see a lot more momentum building because of that face-to-face, tell my story and let people relate and do the rest.
Thank you for sharing, brother. I really appreciate that. You guys, one of the things that I've really connected with Daniel is Daniel's family is still in the UK. And I told him I'm still believing that one day he's going to have a big leg in the UK once because as you guys know, I was enrolled by my pastor who's actually on, one of our pastor friends who's actually on tonight. Daniel's on tonight. And so, hey, before we go, we got about 8 minutes left. I don't want to have anybody just go and does anybody has anybody, can you go back? I can't see where we are. Okay. Does anybody want to make a comment or a question or maybe add something? Just take about 2 minutes and add. Have you guys been sharing your story?
Especially how you use your story to invite people to listen.
Yeah. Anybody have something they want to share before we go? That was really good, guys. I'm super encouraged. I'm going to tell my story to everybody.
I'll share something, Michael.
Go ahead, Destiny.
Okay. So without getting into too much of it, it's crazy because this week I've been really having some eye-openers. And I realized one of my problems is I am afraid to share my story. So I pick and choose who I'll tell my story to and everything. But it's a really strong story, but I'm still working on my comeback,
Very strong.
But I realized that I haven't written my story out because for the last 4 years I've been speaking into existence in my life. Oh my gosh, on paper, I'm a nightmare. And I've said that so many times jokingly, just about life in general and how it's gone for me that I feel like I've just literally put this in my mind. So I've been trying to do this whole, living as if I already have achieved it, and just working on my story from that point of view. So, so I'm glad we're talking about this week. It's just really perfect timing for me. I just wanted to say that. So.
No, I'm so glad that you brought that up because when I think about it, and you and I had this conversation driving a couple weeks ago about how important your story is, just like how you told me, certain things about, about your daughter and, how close she is to a church that you and I talked about. And I mean, just those little things like, getting an extra, switching your schedule around so you can have a day in the week where you can work Life Vantage and, creating, we're all constantly every single day creating your story. So thank you for sharing. And I've had some people just be super encouraged by listening to other people's stories. And I think that that's what we need to hear. I don't know about you, but if I hear
these type of stories every single week, I constantly can stay connected and motivated. When people are telling us no and our businesses are going backwards, that's when we retreat. That's when we don't share. That's why we used to have 25 and 30 people on these calls, and they've dwindled down. Why? Because people are out there not listening and hearing the things they need to hear when they can just hear it for 35 to 45 minutes every single week. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for those of you who are on here and are encouraging me by being on here and encouraging Lisa. We've always said we'll do it if there's 5 people on here. So you have anything else you want to share?
Yeah, that I hope everybody has an amazing Christmas week, and just thank you all. Huh? Yeah. And I just want to thank everybody who's consistently on the calls, who consistently take forth and put forth activity, even those baby steps.
Yep.
You know, don't beat yourself up thinking I'm not progressing very well, I'm not moving, I'm only, you know, going inches while other people are going feet and yards. You know, keep going, and it's going to happen. You know, so I just want to thank everybody who continues to overcome the negative self-talk. And again, I want to say very Merry Christmas to everybody, and have a great day.
See you next Sunday. Don't forget, we'll be here next Sunday. Happy and Merry Christmas, guys. Love y'all.
Merry